Once upon a time, God was feeling pretty creative. He had this urge to make something awesome. So he did what any deity with a little too much time on their hands would do. They made a world. God made the world in 6 days. But by the end of day 6, God was exhausted. So on the 7th day, God did something that most people don't think a God would ever do. They took a nap. And we're going to talk about why that is a really good thing. Hey there, welcome to our channel where we take on the big questions of life and the small ones too. Like, why does my nose itch when someone is thinking about me? Are humans the only ones who can get hiccups, or is it possible for giraffes to get hiccups too? Today we're answering the age-old question. Why did God take a nap after making the world in a land far, far away? Okay, actually it happened everywhere at once, and it still continues today. The world was a bit of a mess. There were asteroids zooming around, planets randomly colliding, and Earth hadn't even been invented yet. God decided it was time to create something new, something special, a place full of adventure and possibility, a world just right for life to evolve and thrive. Now, creating a planet takes a lot of effort. First, God created light and separated it from darkness. Then God made the sky, land, and sea. On the 2nd day, God started separating the living things. All the fish were gathered into the sea, and every bird soared up into the sky. On the 3rd day, God made plants to cover the land. Trees sprouted, flowers bloomed, and green grasses carpeted the ground. Then God rested. Well, at least God rested from making things. God was still working on the details. On day 4, God created the sun, moon, and stars to light up the sky. And then on day 5, all the animals came into being. God made creatures great and small, furry and scaly, slithery and slimy. And finally, on day 6, God created humankind. God made Adam and Eve to take care of the garden they lived in. God gave them jobs to do and told them to have lots of babies and enjoy the world. And God looked at everything God had made and said, "It is good." And God was very proud of all God had done. But God was also exhausted. Creating a whole world is tiring work, especially if you're doing it solo. Being a god doesn't mean you're superhuman. You can still get tired. In fact, maybe being a god makes you even more prone to getting tired because you have so much responsibility resting on your shoulders. Pun intended. So God decided to take the next day off. God was going to rest. Some people might find this surprising. After all, God could just snap their fingers and have everything done in a snap. No need to waste 6 days making stuff if you have the power to make it all at once. But God didn't. God chose to make the world over several days, taking their time to make each part of it thoughtfully and carefully. God made the world over 6 days, and by the end, God was naked. After spending the first 6 days making the world, God needed to rest. Taking a break helps us recharge both body and mind. And even though God doesn't need sleep or relaxation the way we do, God still decided to take a nap. Sometimes it's good to take a step back and just relax. Even if you don't feel like you need a break, it can still be good to take one. There are some jobs that require so much focus and energy that you see and do them for very long without stopping. A long surgery, building a bridge, or launching a rocket all require so much concentration and effort that if the people involved tried to do them nonstop, they wouldn't be able to finish. They would get too tired and make mistakes. That's why even the most driven and focused people need to take breaks. They need to stop for a moment and rest before they go back to work. When you work for so long without taking a break, you start to lose focus. You're not operating at full capacity anymore. When you're driving a car, if you don't take breaks, you won't be able to drive safely. Your reaction time will be slower, and you won't be paying attention the way you need to. Taking a break helps you pay attention better. And being attentive is important when you're doing anything. When you're playing a video game and you play it for hours and hours, your reflexes and focus start to slip. You start making mistakes and missing things that you normally wouldn't miss. That's because your brain needs a break. Sometimes you need to stop what you're doing and look away for a while. That gives your brain a chance to rest, and then you can go back to what you were doing and do it better. This is true for almost everything you can imagine. If you read for too long without taking a break, you won't be able to concentrate on the book. If you watch TV for too long without taking a break, you'll start missing things. And if you listen to music for too long without taking a break, you'll start to not hear things you usually hear. This is because our brains need a break. We need a chance to rest and relax. Otherwise, we won't be able to pay attention as well as we can. And the same goes for God. After working hard for 6 days, God needed a break. God needed a chance to rest. And that's exactly what God did. God rested. And that's a good thing. Taking a nap isn't just a way for our bodies to rest. It's also a way for our minds to rest. When we dream, we're giving our brains a chance to relax and be creative. We're letting our minds wander and explore new ideas. And when we wake up from a nap, we're usually feeling refreshed and ready to tackle whatever the day throws at us. Napping can help you focus better, be more productive, and be more creative. Naps aren't just for babies and kids. They're for everyone. Of course, sometimes naps can disrupt our sleep schedule or make us feel groggy, but that's only if we don't nap properly. If we nap at the right times and for the right amount of time, naps can be a great way to recharge. So the next time you're feeling exhausted, don't be afraid to take a nap. You can probably be more productive if you do. And hey, if it's good enough for God, it's good enough for us. After 6 days of hard work, God was finally able to relax on the 7th day. Instead of spending the 7th day creating more things, God spent it resting. God hung out with friends, played games, and took a break from all the hard work. And guess what happened? God felt great. When you take a break from your work, you give yourself a chance to relax and enjoy life. You give yourself a chance to spend time with loved ones and do the things you love. And that's a good thing. Sometimes we feel guilty when we take a break from our work. We feel like we should be doing more or that we're wasting time. But that's not true. Taking a break isn't a waste of time. It's an investment in ourselves. It's a way to make sure we're able to work hard and be productive when it's time to work. So the next time you're feeling guilty about taking a break, remember this. God took a nap, too. And God is all-powerful. So if God can take a nap, then you can take a nap. So the very first thing God did when God finished making the world was God took a nap. God knew that taking a break was important. God knew that even after creating the entire universe, God still needed to rest. And that's a good thing. God took a nap, and we should do the same. So do you have a good reason now to take a break? Do you know any other good reasons to take a nap? Please share them below in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel for more, and see you on the next one. Thank you, and be good.